Hello everyone, Chris here, and welcome to The Casual Gamer. Today I want to share 10 tips for those of you out there who are struggling to get into fighting games. I am sure a lot of you guys out there are like me, and are pretty casual when it comes to this genre of gaming. I am not very good, however fighting games are still one of my favorite genres, up there with RPGs. I know a lot of people who love games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but are hesitant to play or have a hard time staying with it. Fighting games are challenging, and sometimes they can be a little overwhelming for new players or casuals like myself. Hopefully these tips will help you overcome that hesitancy and or help you stick with it and not get overwhelmed playing fighting games. A lot of these tips apply for the online scene, but many can also apply for offline content as well. So let's get started with tip number 1. Tip number 1, pick a game and character that appeals to you. This sounds like a given, but I know a lot of people who just play a fighting game because everyone is playing it. If you don't play a game that looks cool to you or has something about it that you love, then it won't have any staying power. There are tons of fighting games with different aesthetics and mechanics. Find one that interests you, and if possible, find one of those that is fairly new. Playing a newer game of one that interests you will help you find more people online around your skill level. If you play a 10-year-old fighting game, you're not going to find many people who are at your level, and you will probably get beat a lot, which can be very discouraging for beginners. Trust me, I am one of you. I have dealt with that very same problem. Most fighting games have large rosters with characters that have their own moves and unique skills. Just pick one that interests you. Don't worry about tier list or who is the best at a pro level. If that character looks cool to you or has a playstyle that you like, pick that one. You will have a lot more fun if you play a character that you like rather than one that you hate but is considered S tier. Learn the mechanics of the game with that character that you like. Gaining a proficiency in a character will help you a lot more than playing a lot of characters that you do not know how to play with. If you pick more than one character, I would say try no more than 2. Tip number 2, learn the basics. Most fighting games have a tutorial that teaches you not only basic fighting game principles, but also the specific mechanics of the game you're playing. Not every fighting game has mechanics that carry over from game to game. I admit some games have tutorials that are better than others, but they are still worth going through. Some even have combo challenges that can teach you basic combos with the character you like. Spend some time in training and learn the basic moves of the character. Get used to how they move and what button does what thing. It will take time, but knowing what does what can help you get away from just mashing away at the buttons. Tip number 3, look up tutorial videos. There are tons of content out there surrounding fighting games. If you get stuck or just are not sure how something works, look it up. The fighting game community is great with so many people willing to help. There are videos that teach how to do combos or just tips and tricks about the game. I'll be the first to admit, I don't know a lot of lingo surrounding fighting games, and sometimes hearing things like anti-air, canceling, frame advantage, etc. can be overwhelming. Some games like Street Fighter have specific lingo for that game. That just takes time to learn, and luckily you can Google what those mean. The Fighting Game Glossary is a great site for that information, and I'm only saying that because I know some videos have phrases like that as a beginner you may not know what it means. There's still a lot I do not know, but like you, I'm learning. Tip number 4, you will lose, and it's okay. Losing, the big L word no one likes to hear. Losing is something that is going to happen. There's no way around that. There is always someone better out there, but don't let that discourage you. Even the best of the best lose sometimes, and as a beginner or casual, you are definitely going to lose. I lose most of the matches I play, but I get a bit better each time. If you've watched my Mortal Kombat 1 streams, you know I can get frustrated losing, but it's okay. It's part of the journey. Losing is how we learn. It teaches you where your weaknesses are. Maybe you are just mashing buttons, or you don't know when to block and when not to. Or you don't know what move is best for what situation. There are a lot of things it could be, and losing helps you learn that. If you just play against an easy AI, you won't really learn too much despite you winning. However, if you play a fairly newer game, you will find people who are around your skill level where you can really test what you've learned. And then you will fight more people who will really test you. Think of it like a real martial arts dojo. A lot of times you will practice with people around your own level, but will also be tested against those with much more experience. It teaches you what is possible at that level and helps you see how far you've grown. So don't give up. Keep at it. Tip number 5, don't compare yourself with others. It can be very easy to see streamers or content creators work magic in fighting games. Learn from them, but don't expect to be like them. Many of them have been playing fighting games for many, many years and have obtained that level of play because they earned it. Start small and build yourself up. It can be very discouraging to see people who seem to play with ease while you are struggling. So look at them at what you could be, not what you should be right now. You would not go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place with no experience and expect to be as good as the black belts who have been training for many years. Take your time. There is no rush to gain experience. Tip number 6, find victory in the small things. This has really helped me a lot, and while not always perfect, it can help get rid of some of that anger and frustration while playing. Like I said before, you're going to lose and you will lose a lot, but that does not mean that you did not have success. Find victory in the small things. Maybe you were just learning how to block, or learning how to do a combo. Whatever it is you're practicing, try to do it once or more on an opponent. Win or lose that match, if you were able to land that thing you've been practicing, count that as a win in your head. Sometimes you may even be surprised how well you did when you stopped worrying about the outcome of the match and started focusing on what you're learning. Finding victory in the small things will help you get those wins, and at the very least, will help you feel like you are getting better and you'll have more fun with it. If you have not tried it, give it a whirl. Like I said, you may still get frustrated, but that is okay. Be patient and you will get better. Tip number 7, take a break. This is a simple one but can often be overlooked. There is nothing wrong with taking a break for a few minutes, a few hours, or a few days. Fighting games can be taxing for beginners and casuals especially. Your fingers have to learn muscle memory and it can take a lot of focus. Frustration and anger can also build with repeated loss or failure. Step away for a bit and think about the previous tips that I gave you. It's better to play with a calm mind than a frustrated one. These 7 tips are very basic, but they have helped me stay in love with fighting games even though I am not very good. You don't need to be the best, but in time you will get better and better. Hopefully at least one of these tips helps some of you out there. I know it sure has helped me, but let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if any of this helped you. Maybe in time I'll work on a more advanced video, or just more beginner tips. Thanks for watching everyone, and never stop fighting.